Hey, Shalom Markins, Rakam Akapashim, GMS London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in all sincerity. Backing up another video, and I got a few articles here, just showing you what things are going on in the world right now, and how it relates to prophecy, the geopolitical divide that's happening, in Esau's kingdom, right, which is all a part of its downfall, right? Because we've got a whole bunch of things happening on Earth right now, and of late, right? And this is this is one of the latest news articles, on this topic. And I originally saw this on YouTube, but the article was here from BBC and other news outlets, right? But Angela Merkel rejects criticism of a Russia gas deal, right? I don't know what her position is anymore. I don't think she's the Prime Minister of Germany anymore. I think she has been replaced by somebody else, but she's obviously still some type of politician, you know. Um, but yeah, she basically doesn't want to like cut ties off with Russia, right? Despite what's going on in Ukraine right now, and everybody seems to be like, oh my God, it's Russia's, attacking Ukraine. The whole global community or whatever, is being set against Russia. But Germany or Angela Merkel, I don't know. I'm trying to think. If she's got a new position somewhere, it might be in the EU or something. But basically, she's not condemning him basically over what's going on. But everywhere, other places here in Europe and America and all that kind of stuff, they're condemning Russia for what's going on in Ukraine. But I say Angela Merkel doesn't want to heavily criticize Russia, right, and their partnerships, all right, because it's important. Them partnerships are important. It shows you that the EU, NATO, right, the beast, right, they're not all one mind. They're not all in solidarity with what these other nations are doing. Okay, what their allies are doing. Okay, what America wants. Right, they got their own things own agendas that they want to fulfill and serve, and that's causing contention within the bloc. All right. So like I said, you got Russia involved in the war of Ukraine right now, and Germany or Angela Merkel, basically doesn't want to follow in the footsteps of the rest of the bloc that's condemning Putin and trying to sanction him and ban him from this and that. These men want to do more deals. They want to keep the deals going because it's beneficial for them, right? F Ukraine, basically, right? I agree. F Ukraine. No one cared about Ukraine until 2 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever, man. Okay. So this one actually, right? Angela Merkel defends ties with Russia and blocking Ukraine from NATO. Yeah, don't let them in. Don't let that man in. They don't care about you, and you don't care. You don't care about them. So what's the point? You're just upset because Russia taking back old territories. Making them look like the big bad. But it says here, former German Chancellor Angela Merkel has told the BBC the gas deals she made with Russia were intended to help German firms and kept the peace with Moscow. Okay, so she's talking about back when she was in power, right? She kept those deals going at least for a while. I thought they had to cut them off at some point. She also insisted the war of Ukraine would have started earlier if she hadn't blocked Kiev's entry into NATO in 2008. Okay, so these are decisions that she made while she was in power, right? But like I said, all these nations have got their own interests, and these issues that are occurring is causing tension between all these different nations because they don't necessarily want to go along with the decisions of the stronger nations in the EU or NATO. All right. A lot of them are being manipulated and controlled by America, by Britain or whatever, Brussels and all that, the EU, to make these decisions that are harmful to their own nations, right? And while she was in power, she made these decisions based on what was good for her country, Not basically not based on the pressure that um, you know, the rest of the bloc wanted. Um, so Angela Merkel led Germany for 16 years. She was in office during the financial crisis, the 2015 migrant crisis, and significantly Russia's 2014 invasion of Ukraine. Was she too soft on Moscow, too slow to help Kiev? If she hadn't blocked Ukraine's NATO membership in 2008, where would the war be now? Or would there be war now, rather, right? So she's defending that position on why she made those decisions, right? Let's see if she mentions anything interesting here. So France was Sarkozy at the time, right? And he agreed with Angela Merkel at the time. I think that's what they're saying there. Um, yeah, not seeing anything juicy out of this. But basically, these tensions they've been divided and ripping apart. NATO, the EU, all right, and these rifts are gonna create resentment or are creating resentment. Okay, it's gonna lead to America's destruction, right? So let me grab a scripture. Daniel. All right, this is Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. Right, it's going into the 10 toes. Okay, the end of the kingdoms upon earth, the kingdoms of the heathen. Right, and we're at the feet of the statue. Okay, we're at the 10 toe stage. Okay, these 10 toes represents NATO, the EU. Okay, beginning with America, right? This is their kingdom, Esau's kingdom. Okay, but this is what it says about it. Okay, verse 43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, okay, because the toes are made out of iron and clay, right? They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave unto one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay, right? So let's see. Sorry, man, I should have read up. Right. I'm gonna read from 40, right? And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Right, that's the point I already wanted to get. The kingdom shall be divided. Okay, these blocks, right? These alliances, okay, that make up Esau's kingdom. Okay, they are divided. They don't have the same interests ultimately, right? But they're having to play along because you got stronger members, right, in that block, okay, i.e., America, right, that are really dictating to the rest of them, right? Because everybody kind of relies on dealing with America, right? That's why America is the most powerful nation in the planet, and this is why America can threaten its own allies, which I'm going to get in a minute. Is another article on that. America could threaten its allies, man, to force them to do things, right? And that would pretty much shaft the rest, their allies, right? And so they kind of have to play ball, because America is that big bad bully, right? And anything America wants, right, it gets. The EU bloc isn't strong enough to stand up against them, right? Because they even divided between themselves when we just had a Brexit. Britain is no longer part of the EU now officially. Under different trade agreements and that kind of stuff. So these blocs are all divided. Okay, we've had different European nation crises over the years. We've got pigs nations, right? Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, Spain, right? They're all kind of messed up financially, and a bit of a welfare case in the European bloc. So there's weaker parts and there's stronger parts, right? But it's the stronger parts that are kind of, dictating to the weaker ones what they should be doing. Okay, that's like that begins with America. Okay, and I'm gonna show you that in a minute. All right, so yeah, so partly strong and partly broken. Sorry. So whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. There shall be in it of the strength of the iron. So they got NATO, which is that military, right? They got America backing them, so they're strong militarily. Okay, most nations wouldn't be able to stand up against NATO, right? So but there should be in the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were a part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom should be partly strong and partly broken. Right? And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with miry clay. And that's why they're all dealing with these, the immigrant issues and racism and all that kind of stuff. They're all dealing with it because we've got all these different peoples in these nations, right? It's like a metropolis of people, a melting pot, right? But we don't all get along. Okay, people are becoming frustrated with one another, especially the so-called supposedly these Edomites that that are indigenous to the land, which they're not. But they're getting annoyed and angry because it's their kingdom, and basically they're not enjoying the kingdom as much as they should be. All right, and so they look to blame other nations, immigrants that are coming in, coming into the land and supposedly taking their jobs and whatever, wherever they can find to blame, because they're not having a great time in their own kingdom, because the elites are kind of, fucked it for them, okay, and are the ones keeping them poor, right? So even Esau's own people are frustrated and fed up with how they're being treated by their elites, but they're blaming it on everything else, So yeah, so they're not mingling together, and they're dealing with all these issues, and it's splitting these nations apart. Okay. So that's what I wanted from that. Let's see. It's Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. And then the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, right? Again, these 10 horns, 10 horns? Yeah, 10 horns, 10 horns, right? They correlate with the 10 toes. Okay, in Daniel's dream of the statue, right? And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Okay, the whore being Babylon the Great, i.e. the harlot. Okay, the one that resides over them. Okay, that sitteth upon many waters. Okay, which represents the nations. Right, America is that one. Right, that dictates to the rest of them. Right, and because they're getting bullied, right, they these other nations are feeling resentment against her, right. So they shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right, so this is where it's gonna get to eventually. Right, his allies are gonna hate them so much that they're gonna end up shooting missiles on America with their enemies, with America's enemies. All right. Is Obadiah 1 verse 2. Behold, I made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Right. So you'll be becoming despised by your own people, by your own allies. Right. I'm going to jump down to verse 7. So all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee, okay, your allies, they have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, because like I said, all these nations, the European bloc and whatever, NATO, they rely on America, man, for the protection, right? Trump was getting annoyed with the EU because they weren't, these EU nations, because they weren't spending enough money on the military budget, relying upon America to make up for the bulk of it, and Trump was cursing them out, right? Saying, well, we won't come and protect you then, right? Because they enjoy the fact that America's part of NATO, and that when something big happens, man, America's gonna be there because they're one of the allies, and they're gonna have their weaponry and fighters and whatever to help. Trump was like, well, we won't be helping you no more if you ain't gonna pay your share, right? And all the trade that these nations do between each other, everybody wants to trade with America, all right? So they're the ones that eat their bread. Okay, they benefit of having that partnership with America, just like all these other nations, right? It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him, right? So they're going to betray you. You're going to lay that wound to you, man, right? And you're not going to, you be like, why did you do this? And, there ain't going to be no, you know, trying to, talk them out of it or no pleading with them because they've had enough. They're not going to feel guilty. And we're like, nah, fuck you because, you dealt with us in a bad way, So that's what's occurring, man. I'm saying Germany is just like one of those examples, of these nations really being forced to do what America want, man. But realistically, they got their own objectives, man, that they can't do, or they're being negatively impacted because America wants them to do a particular thing. All right. So that was that article anyway, right? It says, this is from voanews.com. Trump incredibly concerned about escalation of munitions in Russia-Ukraine conflict, aide says, right? So we know that recently Biden was, gave the okay to, Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, to use American weapons inside of Russia, right? Making that escalation occur, right? Because everyone's focusing on Russia and, the missiles that they, that are, what are they called? IRMs or IRCMs, intermediate range continental missiles, right? If I got that right, or ballistic missiles or whatever. Because everyone's focusing on that and talking about how Russia's escalated and yeah, but America already gave the okay to launch missiles inside of Russia, using their American weapons and Britain too. Right, so naturally, of course, Russia's gonna escalate or take it further because you escalated. It's tit for tat. Of course, it is. Russia's not gonna say, "Oh well, we're not gonna up the ante. We're just gonna let them shoot their missiles inside inside our territories." Of course, they're not gonna sit back and just let that happen. So yeah, Russia's like, okay, bring out the bigger ones. We got more, but just bring out those ones. Bring out, we're gonna take it up a level, because there's levels, man. Russia's got levels. All these nations have got levels, man. All right, and so they're just slowly progressing through their capabilities. Their destructive power. All right, so there's escalation in Ukraine going on. Because the West want that escalation, obviously, because they're being stubborn as hell. They keep want to sending billions and billions of pounds and dollars to Ukraine to fight a losing war. It's ridiculous, right? And they got the narrative of having to help Ukraine because why? Because they think Russia's going to take over the fucking world or something. That is the threat that they keep threatening. We have to help Ukraine. We have to help Ukraine. We have to help Ukraine. Why? And they don't ever speak about the fact that NATO is continuously encroaching on Russia's borders. They don't ever talk about that. Why is Russia there in Ukraine in the first place? They won't go into that really. They just want you to focus on the boogeyman and scare you into believing that, man, we have to keep funneling, throwing this money there, right? Make the taxpayers pay for it because we have to help Ukraine. Like, no one cares about Ukraine, but we have to help them. They don't want to make them a member of NATO, but we have to help them. We don't. We're not obliged to do shit. But we have to stop Russia. Stop them for what? What is it that you're trying to sell us, to believe that they're going to do if they take Ukraine? It's bullshit. But yeah, that's what they're doing. So the savior Trump, he's going to stop all this apparently. He may well do. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, So that's escalating right now. But we know the big ones down in the Middle East. This is just another wars and rumors of wars that's taking place. So let me grab Matthew 24 verse 6, right? Saying, "You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Right. So these are just other conflicts that's going on that's going to lead to the big one. Right. We're getting to see more and more capabilities of these different nations. What they got in their armory and whatever. But we know they're saving the big boys for the Valley of Jehoshaphat, right? Where Israel's causing a lot of problems, right? Which are gonna have to be resolved at some point. Okay, it's gonna lead to World War III. All right. Let's see on this. Okay, I'll get that in a minute. Oh, let me get this quick. Oops. It's Matthew 12 and 25. "And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation." All right, so just on the previous note, right? But these allies being having their differences, right? They're divided in opinion of what should be done, how it should be done, and all these kinds of things. Who's the enemy, who's not the enemy, and all this kind of stuff, right? So they're divided. They're not in agreement. Okay, they're being forced to play along. All right. So every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and that is what you're seeing with Esau's kingdom. All these nations that they're crumbling and falling apart. Okay, they're descending. Okay, they're not growing in wealth or power or prosperity. They're on a decline. They're not they're not in solidarity, man. They're not unified. Right? They're just taking orders, but they're resenting everything what they're doing. So every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall his kingdom stand? Right? And so we know we're on the very edge of the end, right? Where all these things are happening to the last kingdom on the earth. Okay, the division, okay, the uncertainty, the threat of all-out war, World War III. Okay, we know we're right near the end, man. All this technology that's leading up to the mark of the beast, right? It's all here. So we know we're on the very edge of all this being fulfilled soon, man. Okay, and that's why we can't wait, man. We know next year is gonna be a hell of a year. And we can't wait to see how it unfolds. Okay, Lord, when the return of our Lord happens in the very same year. To get us, get us the hell out of here, man. Okay, but this is all moving along nicely, man. All according to prophecy. Okay, we're just we're the watchmen, so we sit and watch and we preach, we teach, man. Okay, we declare these things, give understanding. All right, so I don't need to read this article. That's all good, right? But yeah, escalation. That's what this place is gonna be. Escalation. Nothing but escalations in this world, man. You got this right. So again, with the whole geopolitical situation, right? Because of what's going on in Israel or in and around Israel, right? With Palestine and Iraq and Iran and Syria and all these different things that he's going crazy, right? He's doing too much, right? And so there's an arrest warrant out for him now, right? Issued by the ICC, right? International Criminal Court. So he's deemed in the eyes of the criminal court system, international criminal court system, he's a felon. He's a felon, and no good Nick, right? And so nations are like, well, yeah, we agree. If he comes here, if he steps here, we're gonna arrest him, right? And basically, these nations are being urged to arrest Netanyahu, if they come on, or if he comes on to, these nations' territories, right? Which that ain't gonna happen, right? Netanyahu is not stupid. He ain't gonna go to another. Why would he? He's not gonna go somewhere else. I mean, he'll go somewhere that's safe. That these men are not gonna do that, but he ain't gonna go to these nations knowing that there's an arrest warrant out for him. So this is all kind of just empty talk at the end of the day, ultimately, because it can't enforce it. All right, it says the Western Alliance is divided on Israel. Again, divided. The Western Bloc. And really, you're just talking about Europe, right? And America, right? That's what it really is. Canada and whatever, right? The Western Alliance is divided on Israel after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for PM Netanyahu over crimes against humanity in Gaza. US officials threatened sanctions on both the ICC and their own allies. So even these so-called governing bodies or whatever, right? They're nothing compared to America. America does what the fuck it wants to do, right? It threatens sanctions on the ICC and their own allies. All right, America is the whore that sitteth upon many waters. Okay, it ain't nobody else. It's America, right? Because only America could do something like this, threaten sanctions. ICC's not been a nation. It can threaten sanctions on all these guys, man, because they all do dealings with America. They have to be funded from somewhere, right? Money has to be moved across, and everything's got to be traded in the American dollar on the market out there, right? It's a world reserve currency, so they have to they freeze their accounts and do all kinds of shit, right? Which it don't help nobody. Well, don't help them. All right, so the International Criminal Court (ICC) has issued an arrest warrant for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, charging them with war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. This historic decision has led to a political split in the West. Splits, division. How can the kingdom stand? Okay, it can't, right? The European Union, United Kingdom, which was part of the European Union up until recently because of the Brexit. So I mentioned that. Canada, I mentioned that. And Australia have expressed support for the ICC, right? So that's their allies, which we read in Obadiah, right? They don't agree with America because America's stance is completely different, as we're going to find out in a minute, right? They won't uphold. Well, we just found out, right? They don't uphold that. They condemn the arrest warrant from Benjamin Netanyahu because they're a stern ally for Israel, and they don't give a fuck about crimes about humanity. They don't give a shit about that because America's meant to defend Israel to the death, and that's what's going to happen, right? That is exactly what's going to happen because they're going to end up being destroyed out of all of it, and Israel's going to be destroyed too. But America is going to become a wasteland through thermonuclear destruction. Right, so they're going to defend Israel to the death. That's how it's supposed to be in prophecy. So you can see that's how things are, right? But their allies now, they're torn, they're divided over it. They're torn over it, right? So they don't really agree. And obviously America's threatening them, so they might tone that kind of talk down to not upset America or whatever. But ultimately, no one's going to do nothing about it. It's just all going to be talk, and so they're just going to they're going to chill, and they're not going to do nothing about it anyway. So it makes it like they're trying to they support the Palestinians or whatever, but they're not going to do shit anyway. So they don't, right? Because they fear America more, right? So nothing's going to be done ultimately over it. It says on the other hand, the United States is openly attacking the ICC because there's this stance of America, of the harlot, threatening to impose sanctions. US President Joe Biden blasted the ICC's charges as outrageous. The White House said it fundamentally rejects the court's order, right? And when Trump comes in, it's probably not going to be any different. Well, it's not going to be any different. I'm going to just say that. It's not going to be any different because Trump's going to support him anyway. Again, it's prophecy. America is going to back Israel to the fucking end, right? Regardless of who's in power, that's what was going to happen, right? But Trump isn't going to be any different, right? He's going to back Israel over this, over their Western allies over here in Europe or whatever, right? Washington is working with Israel to make a list of ICC officials whom they plan to sanction. These men have got that ability, that power. This is deeply ironic given that the Biden administration and particularly Secretary of State Antony Blinken have constantly claimed to uphold a so-called rules-based international order. That's what I'm saying. They just go against their own orders, man, and their own systems that they put in place. The ICC, it exists because nations like America wanted these things, or the elites kind of wanted them, really, you know, to supposedly maintain order in the world. But as soon as it goes against what they're doing, it's like, no, we don't respect that. We're not trying to listen to that, because America's above the rules, man. The elites above the rules, right? So while accusing U.S. adversaries like China of supposedly violating it, so they'll point fingers at, yeah, you ain't going according to the ICC, and blaming them and blaming these nations for going against this. But when they want to go against it, it's fine. It's like, we don't want to hear that. But it's not just Democrats. The assault on the Hague is bipartisan in Washington, right? Divided. Top officials nominated by President-elect Donald Trump, who will return to the White House in 2025, have also threatened. There we go. There's his stance. Told you. Right? Oh yeah, now that they throw around that term. Trump's pick to be National Security Advisor, the neoconservative war hawk Mike Waltz, vowed to impose sanctions on ICC prosecutor Karim Khan while smearing the court as anti-Semitic. They just throw around all kinds of shit, as a reason not to comply. Him and a racist. The ICC's racist. The first Trump administration hit ICC personal sanctions in 2020 after the court opened an investigation into accusation of war crimes committed by US NATO forces in Afghanistan. It's not the first time. Some far-right members of Congress have gone even further. In response to the ICC's arrest warrant for Netanyahu this November, Republican Senator Tom Cotton threatened a military assault on The Hague. These men don't care about international order, bro. They are the order. Like Judge Dredd, man, I am the law. America is the law, man. If they don't like it, man, they'll just stand. They can send military. That's what they got. They have the threat of the sword, the power. They have the iron. They have the strength. ICC ain't got no fucking military. So they're just gonna roll up on it. Take control of the courts, man, and that's it. It's done. And who's gonna stop them? Who wants to really go into it with America? Nobody. So as I said, that's not all likely to happen. But you see the problem though. This is Cotton referenced a law approved by the U.S. government in 2022, known as the Hague Invasion Act, officially called the American Service Members Protection Act 2002. This legislation permits the White House to unilaterally send troops to The Hague in the Netherlands to physically remove any officials from the United States or its allies who face justice at the ICC. So they can just do what the fuck they want to do, man. They ain't got answers to no international court or anything. They're above all of that. Countries in the global south have long criticized the ICC, accusing it of bias in the interest of Western governments, because that's what usually is going on. The vast majority of officials tried at court have been from African nations, right, or African countries. But these nations can't do nothing. They can't do what America has said they're going to do, put sanctions on them or roll up on them with the military. They have to eat that, right? They have to eat that because the West will back the ICC, and these other nations can't do shit about it. But like I said, that comes ultimately from America. If America doesn't want to play ball, it doesn't have to, and no one can force them to. But the weaker nations, you just got to eat that. The decision to issue arrest warrants for Israeli officials appears to be an attempt to save the international reputation of the court. Yeah, man. Uh, Crazy. But yeah. So they've been accused of genocide and all kinds of shit. So yeah, man. So all this is causing political tension, geopolitical tension around the planet right now, man. The scripture I wanted. Yeah. It's Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 45. So therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. So there's great contention over everything that's going on with Israel and what they're doing in the Middle East right now. And the nations are all kind of like at odds with each other, right? And they said that they're breaking rules, they're doing all kinds of shit, man. They're being hypocrites, and it's all being put out there to be seen, right? It's all being put out to be seen, man. All right, but like I said, this is causing great contention with even within their allies. Let's see here, right? Here in the UK, we mentioned this at camp as well, right? But Starmer, who is our prime minister over here in the UK, he's one of those that stand with the ICC in backing these war crimes or whatever, right? And let's see here. So Starmer standing with Hamas by yeah, well that's it. If you stand against Israel, it means you're standing with Hamas, isn't it? Terrorist groups or whatever. Right, Starmer standing with Hamas by backing Netanyahu arrest warrant, Johnson claims. Well, that's even within our own governments, man. They're just arguing amongst each other. They don't know what the fuck to do. Trump ally warns Starmer the US will crush UK economy if it helps arrest Netanyahu. Nothing but division, right? And we're meant to have the special relationship, right, with America, with a special relationship, Don't fucking seem all that special, But like I said, Netanyahu is not going to turn up to the UK. You know what I'm saying? So all this is just empty fucking words right now. It's political posturing. Yeah, he wouldn't fucking dare anyway. So, but yeah, America, is ready to really screw over their allies or the West, Europe, right? Because Israel's their ally too in it. But they quite happily, go against Europe, right? And this is why they're ultimately going to hate the whole, because they're making them make a whole bunch of decisions it's not very popular and not very good for them, right? And again, I read it again. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord that ye have taken against Babylon and his purposes, that ye have purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them, right? So they're all fighting over what what Netanyahu and these gutter rats are doing, man. Because they're the point of controversy, right? These small hats, they're the point of controversy in the earth, man, because they're parading around the earth to be the Lord's people, the Israelites, when they're not. Because they're the wicked, man, and all they're doing is creating instability in the earth. And so the Most High is going to get rid of them, right? This whole world's going to fight a war because of what these guys are doing. So they're going to destroy each other, right? And the Lord's going to destroy America. And then the real Israelites are going to move back in and take control. Okay, we're going to be Hawashai. But yeah, this is what's going on geopolitically, man. And like I say, it's just a shit show. Everything is causing greater fissions, greater destruction in Esau's kingdom, greater divisions, right? And these are all signs of the ends, So actually, let me close up on that. Let me get this first. 2nd Ezra 9. Oops. Nope. Right, 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. See, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told you before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? So when we're watching these things, we understand what is referring to, why these things are happening. These are the signs that we were told to watch for, the wars and rumors of wars, and we have to piece it all together through the scriptures to understand, again, it's used as a measuring stick, right? So to kind of understand, where we are in prophecy, right? And like I said, we know this is not the end, just because Russia's threatening to shoot ICBMs or whatever at Ukraine or whatever the case may be. We know that's not really how things are supposed to end, right? So this is just another distraction, so to speak, or another war, rumor of war, running up to World War III. Okay, which is really going to be caused by the small hats that and going to take place in the Middle East. So that's where our main focus is. Okay, the Russia-Ukraine situation, yeah, that's going to develop and cause certain ramifications in the earth because of that. Which is great. But what really needs to happen, or a couple of things that really need to happen, is we know the push of the MOTB and the World War III there in the Middle East, man, and everyone being drawn down there to fight. So, these are the things that we're watching out for. So we know we're getting close because things in the earth are becoming more and more unstable. All right. Verse 3, then therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. Okay, again, this all has that instability, all this problem of immigration, all this perception of immigration and these nations becoming frustrated and aggressive and all that kind of stuff, right? So then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, right? Everything is manifesting. So we see it. We're able to, piece it all together. These are not just events that are just have no bearing, so to speak. Okay, they're all prophetic. Scenarios that are taking place. So you have to pay attention, man, and be circumspect. So this is verse 6. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. All right. So I'm going to end it there. Lord willing, it's been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. So till next time, I say shalom.